All right. Hi, everybody. It's Heidi Hope, and it's FAQ Friday, the return of FAQ Friday after a couple of months of hiatus. We had a nice holiday season, and we took some time off, and then we did a Photographer Rising online workshop in January, which was amazing. And then I've had three in-person workshops since then, all of our boutique baby workshops. So I was in teaching mode, but I was tied up every Friday, so I couldn't be here. But I am very excited to be back with all of you, especially those of you who have never made it to a workshop here at the studio, because it's fun for me to still get to hang out with you. So a couple of things. There's lots of news going on around here at our studio. Today is the first day of spring, which we're so excited about. If you haven't seen it on the news everywhere, our area got slammed with snowstorm after snowstorm this winter. It's been the longest winter. So we are very happy that it's almost over, although we're supposed to be getting more snow today, just a little bit. We also have a personal announcement. Sean and I are expecting baby number 3. Actually, I've got just a little bump going here, just at the end of my first trimester right now. I announced it a little early though, because it's kind of obvious already. And with the workshops and all the Instagrams going on with my belly, it was time to tell everybody. Maybe it was just out of vanity. I just wanted people to know I was actually pregnant. Speaking of which, if you are on Instagram, you can follow me. It's at Heidi_hope.com. And I'm now taking questions for FAQ Friday over on Instagram as well. So you can submit questions for FAQ Friday on our social media, any of our social media sites where you see the call for questions. It's always a photo. Or you can follow along with me on Instagram, and you can leave your question right on Instagram. And right now, because I love Instagram the most, I'm going to favor my Instagram questions, and my question today from Instagram is going to get answered first. So if you're not on Instagram yet, you really should be, because it's pretty cool over there. And follow me, and I will follow you back. So go check it out. It's at Heidi_hope. Is my name there, and I also follow some pretty fabulous people too, so you can check on who I'm following to keep up with them as well. Okay. Also, a lot of our announcements go out in our newsletter for photographers. Our newsletter for photographers, you can sign up for that. It's really not a newsletter. It's just some heartfelt emails from me on a weekly or so basis. And I'll be sending out all the episodes of FAQ Friday. Also get linked to from that email that I send out. So if you're not already subscribed to that, you really should be. You can go over to HeidiHope.com/learning, and there's little sign up boxes everywhere. Also, HeidiHope.com/learning is going to be gobbled up soon by Photographer Rising, which is a big project I'm working on. The Photographer Rising site right now, photographerrising.com, hosts our online workshops and retreats, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I also really wanted to use photography and writing as a little bit more of a creative outlet for myself this year. Sometimes when we start doing something as a business full-time for many, many hours a week, we tend to give up on it as a passion or something that we love as a hobby. And I finally at that place in our business where everything's really balanced and we have an awesome team around us. And I really want to bring back that love for photography and writing as a creative outlet, not just as a business. So I'll be doing a lot of that over on photographerrising.com. And I'll be sort of sharing my journey in the next year, trying to balance all of this craziness, another baby, and this business and teaching and all that good stuff. So you may have heard me mention the retreat. I got to get into that too before we get to our questions. The Photographer Rising retreat is going to be amazing. It is me, Mary Maloney of Pebbles and Polka Dots Photography, Kelly Brown of Little Pieces Photography in Australia, and Tiffany Bender of Munchkins and Mohawks Photography. We are all teaming up together to bring you all of our different kind of approaches to newborn photography and running a successful newborn photography business. We have amazing sets and sessions planned. So it's going to be like killer for your portfolio. But we're also going to talk a little bit about the business and how we all have different business models and how we've been able to grow them and be successful in our industry. despite the millions of other photographers. And I just love teaching with other teachers, because I think we all have different strengths. We all have different talents. We are all passionate about different things within our work. And I think it's so beneficial to learn from different photographers, because you can kind of take from each of us what resonates with you, because you're a unique blend of talent and strengths and passions as well. So you can kind of take and learn little bits from each of us and really apply them to your business to make it stand out and be completely as unique as you are. So I'm thrilled for that. You can go over to www.photographerrising.com and you can learn more about the retreat. It's halfway sold out, and I anticipate it selling out pretty fast now. Also, there's a 3-payment plan, and that is going to end in the end of March. The 3-payment plan is because time-wise, we're going to run out of time for that. So if you want to get in on the 3-payment plan, that will end in March, but you can still register after the end of March as well. You just won't have that option. So get on over there to photographerrising.com and check it out. But not until we're done with today's questions. So let's get into those. Gosh, I had so much to catch you guys up on. It's been too long. We can't go this long without hanging out. Okay, first I want to answer the question from Instagram. I'm going to grab that first. See. Okay, here we go. So this question is from Yuri B81. I just started shooting in RAW and I get how to change to JPEG, but should I resize to post on Instagram or Facebook? And what do you recommend? And thanks for being so amazing and always giving yourself. Oh, thank you. Okay. So, for Instagram, I don't really do resizing. I use the app Pick Tap Go app. It's pretty awesome. Pick, P-I-C, Tap, T-A-P, Go, G-O. And that's just an app you can download in the App Store. And it's great. I think is it Totally Rad Labs maybe? I don't know. I don't know who makes it, but I think it's them. Anyways, it's a bunch of great filters too. So that's what I use to edit all of my photos. If you check out my Instagram stream, I really work to kind of keep it cohesive and my style, because I think it is a reflection of me as an artist too. So I really try to keep it to the aesthetic that I love. And I do that through using Pick Tap Go app and a lot of it really is iPhone photos. I mix a little bit of my professional work in there, but most of it's iPhone photos from behind the scenes of my daily life. And I use Pick Tap Go app to edit. And then I usually leave it as a rectangle so I can upload it as a square with the rectangle inset. I usually do a floating rectangle. So I don't do any resizing there, although you can crop in that and everything too. For Facebook, the recommended sizes, the best sizes, if you want to show it as large as possible, you want to bring it down to 2048 pixels wide. So that would be for the highest possible resolution. And I do recommend watermarking any photos that you upload onto Facebook. And even Instagram, my professional photos on Instagram, I do watermark those too, because you have to realize anything that goes online is probably going to get downloaded, screenshotted, reproduced without your permission. It's not legal to do any of those things, but it just is so commonplace. And most people don't, photographers know the law, but not everybody else knows copyright law. So I just see it happen all the time. So you definitely want to watermark. And then if you want a smaller sized image on Facebook that still looks good and doesn't get all crunchy because they do some weird things with compression, 960 pixels wide is a good size to use for that, for Facebook. So either 2048 or 960 are pixels wide are recommended sizes for that. And again, I think watermarking is just so important when you're sharing your professional work online. And even whatever you post on Instagram, you have to know is public domain too. So things are permanent and things can be taken and things can be used by others. Whether or not it's legal, there's a fine line. And that's why, photographers at first weren't crazy about platforms like Pinterest or Instagram, because the user's rights and copyright is a little bit. So you just want to be conscious of that the possibility of your photos being taken without your permission whenever you upload something online. Okay. Great question. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go into the bag now and pull some questions. Our FAQ Fridays, one thing about them this year, they're going to be a little shorter. I used to go like a half hour or more sometimes last year, But things are getting busier and busier around here, so I'm gonna try to keep them to 15 minutes. We'll see how well I do with that. I'm not very good at sticking to time limits. I could just talk to you all day. All right, so here's a question from Melanie. What do you do for white balance? Gray card, Kelvin, thank you so much for taking the time. You're amazing. Great question, Melanie. And I get this a lot because I think our studio is really known for creamy skin tones and for the soft light, and for, you know, we sort of have like a pastel color palette that is really apparent in all of our work. So how do we get such good color balance? Well, one thing I will say is we shoot in natural light, and we have a great natural light studio. The light is amazing. Even the light coming in here today, you can see is coming, we have pretty nice lighting here. And this is just a webcam. But I know a lot of our workshop attendees come in too, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really nice to work in. And you know, the pictures really look amazing from the workshops. So one thing is the quality of the light that you're working with to begin with is so important. I mean, light is the foundation of photography. So good light makes better pictures no matter what, 100% of the time. But white balancing, you would be surprised, I often use auto white balance. So I don't use a gray card, because here's the thing with natural light, the light is always changing. 1 minute, and studio lights are more predictable. So you could use a gray card with studio lights, or with really constant light that isn't changing, even if it's outdoors, if it's really constant in the area that you're working in. And your gray card working with a gray card would be accurate. Unfortunately, in our studio, as clouds go by or whatever, at 1 minute it will be this warm yellow light, and the next minute a cloud will go by, it'll be this darker, cooler blue type of light. So calibrating to a gray card for us doesn't really make that much sense, because we'd have to be constantly changing it anyways. So I find that's a situation where my camera really does a better job than I do, and I can just leave auto white balance up. And then it will just kind of change as the conditions change. And then I can do further white balancing. I can kind of tweak things in post-processing when I'm working in Adobe Camera Raw, or if you use Lightroom, you could do it there too. So I usually use auto. When I don't use auto, if I'm in a tricky situation and auto doesn't look good, like if I'm shooting on my brown barnwood, or if I'm shooting on a really strong color of seamless background paper, a lot of times my automatic white balance won't work very well there. In those cases, I'm going to switch to Kelvin. So then I go in, and I set my Kelvin number. A lot of people ask, what Kelvin number do you use? It's always changing, because the light is always changing. So on a cool day, I'm going to have to use a higher Kelvin number. And on a warm day, I'm going to have to use a lower Kelvin number. The way Kelvin numbers work is the higher the number, the warmer the image is going to become, the more yellow. And then the lower the number, the more blue or cooler the image is going to be shot. So that was a great question, Melanie. Thank you. All right, let's reach in the bag here and take another one. Okay, Heather asks, hi Heidi, is your client required to make their purchase at your in-person sales appointment, and do they get a gallery? We encourage them to order in person, but they are not required to order in person. We also have an optional online ordering gallery that's available for 48 hours after their session, so they can go home and make their final purchasing decisions at home if they want to. And we found this to be really convenient with clients. We also get so many clients who travel to us from out of state. People come from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, all throughout Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine. So a lot of the New England area travel to our studio for their session. And we've had people come from as far away as California and Florida, and even a family came from Singapore. They had already lived in the US, but they were living in Singapore, and they came back for a session, which was really awesome and an honor for us to shoot. So in those type of situations, we really need to be able to do online ordering for our clients. It has just worked best for us to do a combination of both. Most people prefer the in-person ordering appointment, which is funny. I never thought that it would be that way, because everybody's busy, right? And it's another appointment that they have to keep. But honestly, our clients love it, because it's not a sales appointment. We guide them, we help them narrow it down. They get to see the images really full resolution and without the watermarks on them and all that. And Sean really consults with them to figure out the best products that are really going to fit their images that'll love them forever. So clients really love that part of the experience, and it's like an extra level of service that we provide at our studio that not a lot of people do. They really appreciate it. So they're not required. Most of them do. And then we have the online ordering gallery just in case they need it. So great question. Thank you. Okay, we're going to take one more for the day. Crazy how fast this goes by. Okay, this question is from Hannah. Heidi, congrats on baby number 3. Thank you. Do you offer boutique dresses for your clients to wear for their sessions? If so, what are some of your favorite vendors and what have you found to be the most popular sizes to offer? Well, we don't. Okay, we do and we don't. We have some dresses in the studio. We don't have a huge variety. Mostly we have my daughter's old dresses because I'll buy stuff from them and then I'm like, I'll bring that to the studio so other kids can wear it too. So there are a lot of beautiful dresses. One of my favorite companies is Tutu de Monde. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it sounds much fancier in my head than when I say it. But anyways, they're a great company. But what I love about their dresses is the top is really stretchy. So it fits a lot. You can buy one size and it fits a lot of different kids. So I would say, I mean, I think it depends size-wise what most of your business is. For us, most of our business is young children, little kids, young children. They're kind of like 5 and under, the majority of the people who come to the studio. So I really want my sizes to be like 5 and under. But if anything, I would err on the size of ordering something too big, because if it's too big, you can always use a little clothespin or a safety pin in the back to pull it tighter. And it doesn't matter how big the skirt is. A big skirt always looks really pretty. So I tend to go bigger, if anything else, and that way it will fit lots of sizes below as well. We also have a huge collection of tutus here and diaper covers and leg warmers and headbands. So we have a lot of that, you know, the kind of fun stuff. But as far as designer dresses and stuff, we only really have the things that you've seen my daughters wearing in pictures. I kind of keep those around. And I've even had a few clients give me some wardrobe too, that they're shopaholics just like me. And then they've donated some of their beautiful stuff to our studio for other kids to wear, which has been really fun. And a lot of our clients do love, you know, they might bring a full wardrobe for one set, but then they're like, oh, you know, let my daughter try on all these dresses, and they really have fun with that. So yeah, that's kind of how we handle wardrobe here. All right, well, these are awesome questions this week. If your question didn't get answered, please resubmit it next week because I will eventually get to them all. And I do try to kind of cut out questions that we've answered in a recent episode. I know people don't have time to go back and watch all of them, although you can find them all on YouTube. If you have a question this week that you submitted, there's definitely a lot still in the bag. If you had a question this week you submitted that didn't get answered, please resubmit it next week. And don't forget to cut your questions. If you have 3 questions, just submit them all as separate questions instead of one big paragraph, because we cut them up into separate questions anyways. But that really helps us keep it fair. So I'm not answering 5 questions from one person and then not getting to everybody else. So try to break those questions up into single questions for me. Don't forget to find me over on Instagram, and you can ask your questions there. And I like to prioritize those because I want to see all my friends over on Instagram with me. Thank you all so much for joining me for the return of FAQ Friday this week. I can't wait to see you next week, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Bye, everyone.